Good evening and welcome to Sports Federation TV. I'm your host, Alton Davids. This is the show where we talk about all different codes of sport. As you know, there are 73 different codes of sport in South Africa. We focus on a range of different codes of sport and we highlight what you don't know and what we think you potentially may be interested in to join and get your body off the couch and onto some activity. Tonight's show features drum majorettes and weightlifting. We'll start with drum majorettes. Chantal, are you well?
I'm good, thank you, yes.
Good, good. Lorandeki, alles alright?
Ja, oom.
Gelukkig so zenuwagtig, alles okay?
Alles is okay, oom.
Okay. Chantal, what is drum majorettes? Let's start at the beginning. Tell us, drum majorettes, cheerleading, all falls under one category. Give us a brief explanation of what it's all about.
Drum majorettes is all categorized as one. We fall under the Western Province Majorette and Cheerleading Association, which falls under SAMCA as well, the South African Majorette and Cheerleading Association. It's just a general sport about teaching girls, you know, punctuality, discipline, time management, also how to carry themselves as a lady, you know, in the outside world, and also teaching girls, you know, how to be socially active amongst their peers, you know, just growing and developing kids in the correct form.
So it's only a ladies sport?
Only ladies for drum majorettes, and cheerleading is females and males.
Okay. Wat doen jy, jong dame?
Ek is die leidster. Ek sal voorstap en vir die kinders help wat sukkel en ek help hulle om, wel, ek help vir Juffrou Chantal om hulle te help. En, ja.
Okay. Chantal, explain the drum majorette section first. So there's how many people in a team, with a leader, explain all of those things so people get a sense of what it's about.
It varies. There are two different large sections. It's namely large drill and small drill. And there's subgroups as well. Large drill consists of the big 40 by 50 meter field that's most people know as a rugby field. And you could vary from a minimum of 35 goals up into 50 if you like.
Sure.
Yeah, so there's subgroups within large drills. You get namely your flags, and obviously your duels that will work with flags as well as throwing prop, and then your sub-leaders that work with maces, and then your leader is obviously a category on her own. Small drill is exactly the same, except it takes part indoor facility with a 13 by 14 meter field. And then apart from that as well, you have your subgroups. So you have your flag group and your non-palm, which is more cheerleading and militaristic. And then you have your throwing prop group, which entails all your throwing prop, your maces, your duels, your rifles, etc.
Sure, that's
Yeah.
a mouthful on its own.
It is, yes. So it takes a lot of practice to get all that done.
And it's all precision, choreographed.
And timing
To music?
To music, yes. Already prepared music, so the girls practice with that set music, you know, and they'll compete against other competing teams as well with that music.
How do you define, or how do you choose the music?
Well, we judge on a specific criteria with audio interpretation. So you need to have a variety from jazz to African to classical to contemporary, obviously with your hip-hop in between and your modern style of music as well. So fortunately, I would think, we have a good taste in music, so that would probably also be the reason for our end result.
Okay. Lorinda, jy is deel van die Brackenfell span. Hoe ver het julle gekom hierdie jaar?
Ons het baie ver gekom. Ons het hard geoefen om tweede plek te verdien en ons
Tweede plek waar? In die Weskaap, nasionaal waar?
in Suid-Afrika.
O, okay. Nie as in Weskaap, Suid-Afrika. Hoe het julle daar gekom? Verduidelik die proses.
Jy kry die eerste kompetisies wat hulle op jou score sit en dan gaan jy na die westelike soos die westelike kompetisie toe en dan die bestes daaruit gaan nasionaal toe en dan doen jy 'n kompetisie daar. En die top 3 is eintlik die beste.
Okay. Chantal, how do the ages, or how is it classified? In what category would Lorinda be?
At the moment, she's in a junior team. So
What's the definition of a junior team?
junior team is obviously your primary school from we would take from grade 3 to grade 7, and then senior team will start from grade 8 up until matric.
And is it a club? How do you compete to get a team that goes to nationals? Do you select a participant from each different school, or how does it work?
It's open to everyone. girls ranging from all over. Fortunately for us, we are clubs, so for those girls that doesn't have it at this sport, you know, they are more than welcome to join Brackenfell if it is within their surrounding areas, or even if it's not. If it is a school sport, however, you have to take part in your school that hosts the specific sport code, obviously. But for us, we are a junior team in the northern suburbs, and we open up for anybody in the surrounding area from whichever school they are. We are the only school basically in the northern suburbs that has drummies as a junior team.
Okay, so let me try and get this right. So each team, a junior team, will compete against all the other junior teams in the Western Province.
That is correct, yes.
And the winning team from that competes at Western Cape against all the other Western Cape teams, school teams.
Everybody competes
Okay.
at all competitions.
And the winning
yes.
team from there represents the Western Cape at Nationals.
No, all teams from the Western Province go through to represent the Western Cape as a whole at Nationals.
Okay, so even if you didn't win the Western Cape Championships, you can still go and
You can
represent
still
the
go.
national.
There are different leagues, however, when you
Okay.
get to Nationals. So there's the Elite League, and then you have your President's League. Your Elite League is obviously, if your team has progressed for the top 3 years, you know, in the top 3
Okay.
position, they will obviously fall under the Elite League. And then President's League would be for your teams that are just starting out your development phase, basically.
Okay, how prevalent is drum majorettes in Cape Town and the Western Cape? How many teams are there? How many schools participate?
Unfortunately, we are at a limited supply at the moment with participating teams. I think at the moment we only have 5 high schools participating in the whole Western Cape, and
Sure.
it's about 12 junior primary school teams that are actively participating under Western Province Majorette Cheerleading Association. However, we do have a development officer that's trying to obviously boost the sport, you know, get out some exposure out there to grow the sport again like it was 10 years ago with, over 20 teams in the
Yep.
Western Cape presenting at the national championship. So
Why would you say that the numbers have decreased?
I think it has a lot to do with like the physical state of the city, or just the general growth of the country at the moment. It's sad to say, but I think a lot of people have not lost interest. There's a need, there is a want, definitely it is there, but obviously financial status has a major role in that, and I think that's also why we're trying to just get it out there. You know, it is still alive. We want it to come back, but we just need, you know, maybe some help and support from big companies, if we could, just to grow the sport and get more people involved, and just keeping the kids busy, you know, that they're not on the streets, you know, keeping them physically active and keeping them safe.
Rinde, wat sê jou vriendinne by die skool as jy deelneem aan drummies?
Hulle sê dis eintlik stupid want dit vat jou tyd op, maar ek dink nie dit nie, want dit help jou eintlik om soos goeders reg te kry wat jy gaan nodig hê as jy uit skool uit is. En dan sê hulle dit vat jou Saterdag op, en dan sê ek nee, maar dit doen nie. Dit is actually lekker want jy toer en jy gaan sien die wêreld met jou spanmaats.
Wat sal jy vir iemand sê, wat is die beste advies jy sal vir iemand gee om deel te neem in jou sport?
Ek sal vir hulle sê, hulle moet kom want dis is 'n spanwerk, dis is jy doen alles saam. En sê nou maar die een het geval, dan sal almal vir haar opstaan en vir haar sê dis oukei, ons kan weer probeer, daar's nog 'n kompetisie. En ons het so baie integriteit om dit te doen en ons offer baie tyd op om so goed te doen in hierdie sport.
En sal jy môre weer begin as jy enigiets anders het om te doen? Sal jy drummies weer kies?
Ja.
Goed so. Alles wat beste vir jou, en ons sien uit om jou weer terug te hê met jou Protea colours op.
Dankie.
Okay. Let's take an ad break. We'll be right back. This is Sports Federation TV. If you just tune in, you've missed the first segment of drum majorettes and cheerleading. We're joined now in studio by Alzana. Are you well?
Yes.
Nice little outfit you had there. Tell us a bit about your outfit.
This outfit was made by Felicity Kimberg, and we have different outfits for every group and stuff we do. This is one of our small drill outfits.
So why would you wear this? What's the significance of wearing this outfit?
It goes with what we do in the group we do, and it stands out in every group we're doing.
Okay. Chantal, how do you decide on the costumes that the drummies wear?
Each team has a significant own color to represent them. Ours is fortunately navy, red, and white. And we differentiate obviously with, like she mentioned, now the different subgroups we have. So we have, these are the white is for one specific subgroup, and then we have the red to bring out flags, and then we have the navy or black for our duel. So while you're busy choreographing your formations, you highlight the specific colors within your display.
Okay. And who does all the choreography? You as the coach?
Yes, that is correct.
And how do you manage to do all of these things?
It's all in the mind. It's all up in here.
It's all in a day's work, they say.
Yeah, well, you
Is
try
it
to
hard
make...
work to choreograph?
It is, because every single time you have to just come up with something better. Every single year, something new, something creative, something to top off your previous performance of the previous year. So
Where do you do the research for these things? On the internet, or is it just inspiration?
it's just inspiration, I guess. Something like artists use life experiences and perform that life experience out. I guess it's the same for myself as
Okay.
well. So
Elzan, how often do you practice drum majorettes?
We do it every 3 times a week, and every Saturdays usually for 3 to 8 hours.
At the time?
No, in the weeks it's probably 2 hours, but when it is every Saturdays it's 8 hours.
And don't you have a social life? What do your friends say?
Some of my friends say I'm crazy doing it so long, but I quite enjoy it.
Okay. Chantal, tell us a bit about this cheerleading element. Is it different? What's the difference between the drummies and the cheerleading?
Majorettes is basically more militaristic, where we use and utilize props. Cheerleading is basically like it is overseas, they do all the stunts and the tumbling and the tosses and people throwing up in the air, and it's also choreography is also included with that, but it's not as much as majorettes.
Tell us about some of the highlights of the year.
Highlights of the year, there were so many. I would have to say a highlight of the year was ending off our 2015 season at Nationals with Brackenfell Junior Majorettes obviously being the only team in the Western Cape to have gone through to the finals and placed second in the country. So,
And what's
quite
next
good.
for you?
What's next? Pushing for first place, I guess, next year, Nationals, to take it all home. Bring it back to the Cape.
And the opportunities there for you, for your team?
For the team, I guess, would obviously be more exposure as well as helping the girls, motivate and boost them just to be better and better every year, and also growing, hoping that could help our team grow. So, in that sense, I think that would be it.
Elzan, what do your friends say about you doing drum majorettes?
Some of them say they also want to start doing because it sounds fun and you get to make new friends and you spend time with a lot of new people and learn new things. I really enjoy it, but some of my friends say some of them say they don't want to waste time, but I don't think it's a time waste. I think it's actually a time where you can make new friends, learn new things, discipline, and stuff like that.
Chantal, in a nutshell, as you said at the beginning, there's a specific purpose and goal for you as a coach, taking these young ladies through a series of activities.
Yeah.
What's the end product? What do you want to see at the end when they leave your hands? What's the benefit
Basically-
of drum majorettes?
Basically, to know that they are disciplined, knowing that, one day when they leave school, when they leave the sport, that they are independent females. They don't have to always rely on other people because they've learned the time management. They know what discipline entails. They know how to correspond with other people around them, whether they know them for 10 years or whether they just met the person. Treat other people with respect, and that's all elements that they learn within the sport. So I think our ultimate goal is just for these girls to leave us with a good heart, knowing that they're going forward in life and not just sitting on their mom's couch at home.
Tell us a bit about the league. Is there a league structure, or how do you compete, Elzan? How often do you take part in competitions?
It's probably we have different times of the competitions, and there is leagues, like there are different teams in different leagues, and when we do our competitions we are very excited and stressed at the same time.
I'm sure. And very nervous, eh?
Yes.
And the costumes must be done on time.
Yes.
The music better be right. The hair better be right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have makeup artists right there on the day of the
No,
competition?
no, none at all. It's
So how
all
does it work?
fortunately, we have uniform moms, so
Okay.
it's usually 2 or 3 parents of the girls that are actually in the team, and they assist us with uniforms and getting the boots and getting the busbies and getting the hair right and making sure everything's in tip-top form before we perform. So it's a lot of hard work, a lot of behind-the-scenes action that no one sees, but the front picture looks good. So
But that's why I'm asking the question, because you never know what makes or what happens behind the scenes to get to that point. The hardest part of any competition is not participating.
Oh,
It's
no.
actually the preparation beforehand.
Exactly.
And when you get to the start line, everything just falls into place and you say, voila, it's all here.
exactly.
So tell us
Exactly.
some of the stories of some of the things that happens behind the scenes, so people get a sense of the actual hard work behind the competition.
Well, it basically starts off with, like you asked now, choosing a design, for example, and choosing a color uniform. So everything needs to correspond with one another. So it starts with uniforms, for example. Fortunately, we have Felicity Kimber who does all our uniforms and our flags for us. We have 3-4 different sets of flags, you know, and all of this needs to be made, and it's running to the shops and buying material and sitting down with the design, to hurrying for polls and getting quotes from this shop and that shop and having it approved and getting it onto the pole and gluing and stitching, and everything must just happen in one night. And then that's only flags.
In one night,
That's
sure,
only-
that's pressure.
That's flags, and that's just one part. And then there's your maces, like you saw earlier that Lorinda had, taping the maces, making sure all of them are clean, making sure all the boots are clean, making sure all the girls have the right stockings, making sure they have the right underwear, all of those things that has to take place before an actual competition. So let's say the competition's on a Saturday, it should just put on and go.
Okay.
So it's a lot of hard work, but it's worth it.
En hoeveel deelnemers het julle by die skool?
So far we are, I think it's 24 or 28, I'm not very certain. We are trying to aim to 40 around there.
How are you motivating the others to participate?
We are trying to get a very bigger team, because the bigger team you have, the more you can do in your displays.
Okay.
So
And that pole, is it called a pole? What's it called?
it's called
Wink,
a
wink.
mace.
A mace.
Yes.
So what do you do with a mace?
You do tricks like throwing it in the air, turning, spinning it around, things like that. You do tricks and twirling, and sometimes it's very hard and pressure. And
How often do you practice with a mace?
sometimes we have to help the others, but when we have our own time, we practice on skills and displays and stuff to do.
Okay. Do you get chosen to wear the mace, or do you offer to do it?
There is times like after nationals, then there's a specific day where you go for trials. Then you can go for being a dual or a flag, or you can go for being leader, and then the trainers choose who gets to come and wear.
And when did you go for these trials? For these trials?
I went for subby 2 years ago.
Okay. And you've been good at it ever since?
Yes, the first year I was a little struggling, but then I got the hang of it.
Okay. Chantal, in closing, how do people find out more about Rummies? Do you have a website, Facebook page, etc.?
We do, yes. We have a Facebook page. There's 2, one for juniors, one for seniors. So juniors, they can check out JG Meyering, sorry. Brackenfell Junior Majorettes, that's on Facebook for the juniors. And for senior girls that are interested, it's JG Meyering Majorettes. So everything that they need to know, if they want to get hold of a trainer, or they can get hold of our team manager, and she can contact them, you know, with practice times, should any of the girls be interested in joining.
And those are predominantly in the Brackenfell area.
Brackenfell is for the juniors, and then seniors, we have a team in Goodwood.
Linked to J.G. Meyering High School.
That is correct, yes.
I know a little bit.
Yeah.
Ladies, thank you for your time. It was good to have you in studio.
Thank you very much for having
Thank you.
us.
Good luck for your next competition, and we'll see you back here soon.
I hope so. Thank
Good.
you.
Let's take an ad break. We will come back with weightlifting. See you now.